Hello, my loves. Today I wanted to come on here and obviously talk about how I have been solo traveling for relatively cheap. I keep getting messages while I'm here in Seattle, and the messages are along the line of, how are you doing this? How are you affording this? Because I've been staying at very nice hotels. Like, I am looking at the ocean right now. And there's this giant window and the ocean is literally right there. And I'm staying in Seattle. Seattle is a pretty expensive place to live, let alone travel to. And I'm staying directly downtown, which again is another pretty expensive thing to do if you think about it, you know? Usually if people are like, I want to stay downtown, I want to look at the ocean, and I want to travel to a big city that costs a lot to live there, usually you would be like, oh, I need to save up thousands and thousands of dollars to be able to do that. I have been here for about 2 weeks. I got here the 22nd and I'm leaving on the 1st, which is in a couple days. So I'm honestly excited to like see my dog and everything. That's besides the point, but I could stay longer if I wanted to, but I'm ready to like go back to my home base, and then obviously I want to come back, you know, whatever. But traveling gets to be a lot of unfamiliar stuff, so I'm ready for something familiar, but I am having such a good time here. And yeah, I just keep getting messages of like, how are you doing this? Like, even my brother texted me and was like, how do you have enough money to stay in that room? How do you have enough money to look at the ocean? Like, even my own brother is like, what are you doing? And he literally asked me, he's like, how are you affording this? So I felt called to like do this little course where I guess like a workshop, do this little workshop of how I am doing this. So I'm gonna explain the why, I'm gonna explain the how, obviously, because I know that's what you guys wanna know, that's what you wanna hear, and then what I've gotten out of the situation. So that's kind of the order that this little workshop is going to go in. I am very excited to talk about this, and I wanted to do it while I'm actually here because I'm in that space, you know, and the background is very beautiful and I'm looking at the ocean and it just seems right. I'm wearing a Seattle, it's so cute, huh? I got it on like Pike's Place or whatever. If you've ever been to Seattle, it's like a huge like vendor place, I don't know, but okay. So let's talk about, I guess, the why. I know reasons for traveling can be different for everyone. For me, it was very much so, I used to be very tired of my living situation. This is before I decided to travel. I've been wanting to travel for probably the past 6 months, if not longer than that. I mean, my whole life I've been wanting to like travel month to month to month, you know? But, and sorry if I'm not looking at the camera, I just feel more comfortable like looking out and I feel in the zone. So if I'm not like staring at you and I'm like looking out here and talking, that's why. But yeah, I was feeling like I want to get out of my living situation previous to this. And I was like, but I also want to have a place to come back to. I do enjoy living with my family, blah, 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 blah. So I really got to the place where I was comfortable where I was, and it wasn't like I was trying to run away from my situation anymore. It was very much so like, I'm cool where I am. Like getting makeup off my jacket because I just like, I was like, I'm very cool where I am, honestly. But I could travel, you know, like I'm happy here, but like maybe I could try something new instead of coming from a place of I need this, you know. I don't think it's ever the right time to do something when you're very much so like, I need to do this, I'm not happy where I am, and I will be happier there. Because the truth of the matter is, if you aren't happy where you are right now, you're not going to be happy where you're going to be when you travel, and you're just going to carry that energy out to wherever you're traveling. So if I was in the mindset of, I really hate where I am right now, like in a very like, I hate living with my mom, I don't want to do this, I need to run away, like I want to get out of here, you know, that kind of attitude, I would have had that attitude here. And I would have got here, I would have found everything wrong with the place that I'm staying, I would have found every reason to be upset. You know, you bring you wherever you go. So just make sure you are in the right headspace to be able to be traveling, and things will be easy for you if you're in the right headspace and if it is actually something you're feeling called to do versus just like escapism and like running away. Because I have felt that, and I have done things, my whole entire move to Arizona, which is where I live now, was from escapism, and everything was very hard, and it was like nails on a chalkboard trying to do anything because I was going against the grain in what I felt like I needed to do, or like what my gut was telling me. I was just trying to escape because I felt like I hated where I was. You know, I was living with my parents at the time, and I was like, I just want to be out of here. I was living in my hometown, and I'm grateful that I moved now, but the first 2 years of me living there were way harder than they should have been if I just waited until my gut told me to move, waited until my intuition said it's time to go, and it would have been a lot easier if I did that, you know. So just to save you some effort and save you from getting into situations that you do not want to be in, if you are not in the mind space to do this, save this workshop and come back to it when you are, you know. Or I mean, watch it now, and you can be excited for when you are ready to be able to travel. And another thing I want to say on that is, make yourself feel in your day-to-day life how you would feel when you're on vacation. So whatever you are looking for when you're looking to travel, so for me, find the emotion that you want to feel whenever you're there. So for me, I really wanted to feel expanded. I really wanted to feel free. I really wanted to feel like I was doing something new. So with that, for the timing to line up and for me to match up with actually feeling that when I got here, I had to make myself feel expanded. I had to make myself feel free. I had to make myself feel whatever I just said at my apartment at home, okay? So it's not gonna magically just line up with you if you aren't feeling that way already. So the way to speed it up, the way to speed up your process, and you just have to match up with the whoa, so many birds just flew past. I don't know if you guys saw that in like the shadows, but the way to match up with what you actually want is to feel that emotion now. We always feel, as humans, I feel like we're taught to feel that I will be happier there. When I get this money and I can do this thing, then I will be happy. But in reality, how this really works is, if I feel this now, I will attract the outer circumstances to me that will help me feel that more, okay? So we have to match up to whatever you're looking for when you're traveling. What do you want from traveling? I think that's the first thing that we need to talk about, you know? Do you want to feel free? Do you want to feel expanded? Are you trying to escape something? If you're trying to escape something, I would address that head on, so that is out of the way, and you can eventually, I mean, pretty soon, as soon as you deal with these things, things will line up for you. And I really just recommend like letting divine timing take over and flowing with it, you know? Don't go against the grain. Don't do it just because you're like, I have to force this to happen. If you're trying to force something, it's not gonna work out the way you want. So You have to match up with the energy of what you want to be and what feelings you want to feel when you're here. You know, when you're in Seattle and you really wanted to go to Seattle, what would you be feeling, you know, or wherever you want to go. That is just my case. And I guess I will go ahead and say how, I guess, like tangible steps of what, you know, like how I did this. So I had, I want to say like $700 when I booked this. I was planning on staying for 2 nights, 3 nights. Now I've been here for 2 weeks. That is just kind of crazy. So initially I booked, maybe I had like $1,000. Initially, I booked the plane ticket. I booked a plane ticket to fly in on the 22nd and fly out on the 25th. And I booked a hotel for those nights, which was like 3 nights, 2 days, or 4 nights, 3 days, or something like that. And to book, I went and just looked at downtown Seattle hotels on Google, obviously, and then I found on Expedia. Expedia has lower rates because they buy out the hotels like stock, if that makes sense. So they'll buy a bunch of rooms and they will sell them for cheaper, so they make money on it somehow. I'm not completely sure. I think they get a deal with the hotel because they're buying so many rooms, you know? So you buy it from a third party. And I mean, for example, this is the second hotel I've stayed in, like this 2-week trip or whatever. For this one, if I bought it and I just made a reservation with the hotel, every single night it would have been $150. But because I bought it on Expedia, every night was $70. I'm staying here with an ocean view for $70 a night, which is just crazy. And of course, like, they have the taxes and the fees and like stuff like that, but the base price is like 70 something when it would have been over double that. I literally called and I was like, hey, how much are rates tonight? And she said like 147 or something. And I was like, oh, bye. And I looked on Expedia and it was so cheap. I think I'm staying here for 5 nights, whatever the 28th through the 1st is. And it is only $370. They obviously pull out the fees and the deposits just in case you like mess anything up in the room. So they took out $440 from my bank account, but the nights are $370, so I'll get that back like after I check out and nothing's like broken or whatever. So yeah, the first hotel I booked, I found on Expedia. I just looked up like my price range and I just got here with a couple days, and then I decided, hey, like, I really want to stay. I'm not ready to go home. I'm having a good time. There's so much more of Seattle I want to explore, stuff like that. So I decided to cancel my flight, which I am still waiting on a credit for that, but they're supposed to like give me a credit that I can use for the next year in case I want to fly somewhere else. That's something I really recommend doing. Expedia has been hard to contact, so I don't know if I really like recommend Expedia if you're thinking about if you think that you're gonna like cancel and like change things. If you think you're gonna change things, maybe don't use Expedia. Use a different like third party, because I was on hold for like 2 hours and I still didn't talk to a real human when I had to like cancel my flight. But again, if you are like definitely gonna stay and you're cool with like being flexible and all that kind of stuff, book it with Expedia and it is like half the price, you know? And with plane tickets, if you literally just buy the plane ticket at the airport, your ticket will go from like $40 a ticket or something like cheap on Expedia to like $8 a ticket plus fees and stuff like that. So it cuts a lot off of it. I personally haven't done that, but I've seen other people do that, and I've heard people talk about that. So I would say check with the airport first, you know, go up there and be like, do you have a ticket for these dates, these times, to this place? And it is going to be significantly cheaper than it would be online at all, whether you're booking through like American or Delta or just like a third-party app or a third party. It's going to be a lot cheaper if you just go to the airport and buy it for some reason. I don't really know why, but I'm sure it's because the airline, you know, wants to make money from people doing it online and putting fees and stuff on it, and then obviously the third party wants to, you know, make money, so they have to kind of like up the ticket price, you know. But if you buy it in person, that helps. If you buy it on Expedia, that helps. Whenever I first got here, and I was on day one, and I was like 2 days, 3 days or whatever is not enough. So I'm gonna need to cancel my flight. Again, I was on the phone for a while. I ended up just calling American, which is like who the flight was with, and they canceled the flight for me, and they said I should have like credits, like I said, but I don't know where that is. I'm gonna have to eventually get on the phone with Expedia and get my like credit, but they said I can use it for the next year, and that way I have like, I didn't waste my money, you know. Another thing is like flying on dates, especially if you have a flexible job, flexible income like I do. I mean, I just work from home, so it is easy for me to like check specific dates, but check multiple dates and go on the cheapest night, you know, that the flights. I know this weekend when I'm flying home, if I flew out one day later, the ticket would be like $300 just one way, which is crazy. But flying out on the first, the ticket was $170, but my original ticket was a round trip, and that was only $140. So it really depends on the day you're going. And like if you have multiple destinations that you would like to, you know, explore, I would say you want to go to Seattle, and you're also open to going to Florida, and you're also open to going to California, and you're also open to going to what? Like Oregon, okay? I don't know. Check multiple dates for each place, you know. Check dates for Seattle, see what the lowest price you can find is. Check dates for California, you know, compare things. And like, you can always go back to these other places. If you're really wanting to say go to Seattle, maybe you can go in a month, but you can go to California tomorrow, you know, for the same price. So really, like, be strategic about this and put your money in places that are going to like work out for you. You know, you just want to travel, you know, it doesn't necessarily matter where you're going. And I'm sure that you have multiple places in mind that you're like, I would do that, you know. But yeah, so check, see what's the cheapest at the certain time, because I know at certain times people aren't going to be going to, say, Washington when it is really cold, because it gets cold here. So maybe you can be the odd one and get the cheap flights, because no one's going to be flying at that time. So you need to think about that. And this weekend, because it's Easter, that's why the flights are so expensive in comparison to what I booked them for 2 weeks ago. You know, a one-way was like $60 2 weeks ago, and now a one-way is $300. So it has to do with the dates, and it also has to do with where you're going, and think about what the collective is doing, you know. If you're going to, say, Arizona, if you're traveling to Arizona, travel to Arizona in the dead of summer, because no one travels there at that time. It's gonna be really cheap because no one wants to be in a 120-degree oven, you know. So go whenever you can, you know. think about the times that it's going to be cheaper. It just logically, it makes sense, you know, learn about where you're wanting to travel, and when people don't travel there as much, the tickets will be cheaper because the airlines and stuff, they need to make money. So somehow, so they try to get you in there for cheaper. Another thing, I was thinking of something. Where did it go? Oh, another thing. I'm like, where'd it go? Another thing is, whenever I got here, the first hotel I was at, this is why I changed hotels. The first hotel I was at did not have a kitchen because, you know, it's a hotel. There are hotels with kitchens, you know. So the first one I was at did not have a kitchen, and I spent $500 in 4 days on Uber Eats and just like walking places to get food because I had to eat, you know, and you can't have, it didn't have a little mini fridge, it didn't have a freezer, it didn't have a microwave, it didn't have anything like that, you know. So I decided to come to this hotel instead, and I looked on Expedia. I was like, hotels with kitchens. And even if the price, in my case, that hotel costs more per night than this one, but this one has an ocean view and it has a kitchen, you know. So if you're looking to save money, get a place. I mean, Airbnb tacks on so many fees, so I mean, just really compare prices, but get somewhere with a kitchen. They have long-term hotel stays. I'm not saying you have to stay at like a long-term Motel 6. This is definitely not a Motel 6, you know, with the ocean view in front of me. But yeah, compare prices, get something with a kitchen so that you don't have to eat out, especially in a big city. On Uber Eats, they were tacking on like $5 fees because of, I don't know, it said like a outsource fee or something, which I think means that I was just out of town coming here, so they charged me because I was visiting, stuff like that. And if you are gonna Uber Eats, get the like package that they do where they do like free delivery, or DoorDash. Get the thing where they do free delivery for the time that you're traveling. So they have like week free trials, or just get it for the month, pay for it for the month, then cancel it. So you don't have to pay delivery fees and all of that kind of stuff and service fees on top of getting your food, you know. And just another thing to keep in mind, get a location where you can walk so you don't have to rent a car. I don't have a car. I have been walking everywhere, which has honestly been really good for me. I feel like I'm being active and I get to like explore the city very intimately. So you don't need a car, you know, and public transit and stuff like that is a thing. And if anything, you need to get an Uber 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 times while you're there. That is a lot cheaper than renting a car. So, you know, stay somewhere where you can walk. And also, I just want to say, if you are like Uber Eatsing stuff, if you're DoorDashing stuff, on the specific meals, they turn the price way up. So if you're doing like I was ordering DoorDash when I was at the other hotel, and I would do the pickup option on DoorDash when I could have just called the food in, and it would have been cheaper to pick it up that way because they have like minimum fees or whatever to be able to do it, so they jack up the prices on the meal. So say I was gonna get, for example, at Cactus downtown Seattle, I was gonna get chicken tacos on DoorDash and it was like $18-19, but then I looked on the regular menu and it was like $15. So they just like bump up the prices. So if you can just call it in, it's easier to do that and then go walk and pick it up, stuff like that. But I really just recommend getting a kitchen. Even if the hotel is a little bit more expensive than the one without a kitchen, it will even out because you're getting groceries, you know. I spent $30 on just groceries for the next 4 days and that's it, you know. But whenever I was ordering in, it's $30 per meal because you have the delivery fees, you have the jacked up prices on eating out, and eating out is just relatively pricey to begin with. So think about that. Just be conscious, be smart, and really like weigh out your options, you know, like be strategic with your money, and you'll be able to do this. But those are like really my tips. Go somewhere walkable so you don't have to get a car, and to get back and forth from the airport is going to be like your only like Uber fees, you know. And yeah, my Uber was like 40 bucks here, and I'm sure it will be like 50 back. But I've only had to pay for an Uber like a couple times because it was raining and I needed to get somewhere, you know. But get somewhere with a central location. Even if the price of the hotel is a little bit more expensive, it will even out because you will be able to walk everywhere. You don't need a car, and you'll be able to walk to the food places to get your food. You'll be able to walk to grocery stores to get your food. And also, if you're near a Whole Foods where your hotel is, and you're staying for a little bit, you need groceries, they do a free 2-hour delivery under $35. So I literally just had my groceries dropped off at my door. I didn't have to walk anywhere. I didn't have to like DoorDash it. So find stuff like that, like literally search free grocery delivery if there's not a Whole Foods. You just have to do research about the place that you're staying and find ways to get things for cheaper. You just have to look for it. It's there. But yeah, now I kind of want to go into what traveling has brought me. And also, something I want to mention is I didn't ask, this is just so cool, I didn't ask for a room with an ocean view. I was just so aligned that the universe brought me that, you know. I just trusted my gut. I trusted my instinct this entire time. And I showed up here and I got a corner room, which there are not, I literally, I don't think there are that many rooms with this view. I think like 5, and I got one of them. Like, what are the odds of that I was going to leave within 2 days, but I felt called to stay. I took that risk to stay. I booked this hotel. I get the corner room with the ocean view, one of 5 of these rooms out of what, 600 rooms in the hotel. And it's just because I was aligned and I was looking for opportunities, and I was listening to my gut. You know, I wanted to stay. I let myself stay and I let myself have fun, and I said it's okay if I feel stressed about money or whatever, but we're gonna work through this and we are going to make this happen. You know, if you feel called, there's always a way. So let that way, you know, you have to let that way in. You have to let it, you have to receive what you're asking for. And it's so crazy because I like have honestly wanted to live here, and now that I've come here, I am moving here. Like, unless I find somewhere that like hits my heart even more, oh my gosh, I love it here. And I remember saying I want a apartment in downtown Seattle with giant windows looking at the ocean. And it's so crazy because I didn't specifically, you know, I didn't specifically ask for this hotel. I didn't specifically say, like, type in hotels with ocean views. I didn't do any of that. Hotels with windows, like giant windows. I didn't do any of that. I booked something in my price range, what I felt comfortable with, and the universe brought me that. And it's not a coincidence. It's just I was so aligned. That's why I say you have to match up with the energy before you get here, you know. I took a month or 2 to really align myself with the emotions that I wanted to feel when I got here. So I really recommend doing that so things can work out very easily for you and you're not going to have a stressed time. Because if you're stressed at home, your vacation is going to be stressful as well. But this trip has brought me so much clarity and so much freedom and honestly just clarity on where I want my life to go. And it's let me just be in my own energy for extended periods of time, and it made me take risks and learn to say yes to myself, and you know, learn to just let myself have a pleasurable time and enjoy something. So I really wish that for all of you. If you are wanting to travel and you're just like on the edge, I really recommend taking the leap. Match up your energy and just do it, you know. If it will feel nerve-wracking, especially if you're traveling alone, because it's like, wow, like I have to depend on myself for everything, you know. And like you have these thoughts of like, what if? But what if you go and it's amazing, you know? And what if you miss out on that? The opportunity of missing out is worse than whatever you think could happen, you know? So I really encourage you to take the leap, especially since you bought this workshop, you know? This is for you. Take the leap. Just match up your energy first so that it will be easy when you get there. Again, think about, what do I want from this trip, and bring that to yourself as much as you can before you go. And do all the other like strategic things that I was talking about. And again, like I came here with not that much money and I stayed for 2 weeks. So, you know, just follow it and things will work out for you. Opportunities will pop up where you can save money, where you can get a room for $70 looking at the ocean. And just trust that you made the right decision. Trust yourself that this is something you need to do. We often talk ourselves out of having fun. We often talk ourselves out of doing the things we want to do. I did that for a long time with coming to Seattle. I was talking about it for months and I was like, I'm gonna go. But I never went, you know, and now I'm here, and it really just it was like divinely orchestrated. That's all I can say. But yeah, trust yourself. You've got this. And if you have a desire in your heart, that is for a reason. That's your heart trying to bring you somewhere, to show you something, to teach you something, you know. Our desires aren't here to mock us. They're here because there's something laying in that place for us, whatever the desire is. When we get that desire, there's something in it for us that is going to help us, teach us. We are just going to learn something from it. So I really encourage you to take the leap if you have been waiting. And I'm going to get out of your hair now. I would love to hear your travel stories. I would love to hear how you've saved money, or if you travel, I would love to hear how it worked out after you watched this workshop. So message me on Instagram and let me know. I would really, really, really love to hear if you implemented any of the strategies that I talked about in this. The AC just came on and it's kind of loud, so I'm going to take that as a sign that I should cut this off. Like, well, okay, it stopped. But yeah, I would really love to hear from you guys on Instagram, and let me know how things worked out for you, and like after you've traveled and implemented this stuff. I would love to hear. So I will get out of your hair. I also want to add, if you are looking for a mentor, I do life coaching. And if you like this, you will love the life coaching. So take a look at my website, and I have different programs, different packages at different prices. And I encourage you to invest in yourself, whether that is traveling, whether that is purchasing courses, whether that is hiring me as a mentor or anyone as a mentor. You deserve it. You deserve to invest in yourself. You deserve to push that edge a little bit, you know? If you are scared to spend money, sit in that uncomfortability. I had to do that a lot this trip. Sit in that uncomfortability and say, it's okay. Just breathe through it. Acknowledge, I am feeling stressed about money. I feel like I'm not going to be taken care of. or I feel like I don't deserve this, or if it's investing in something as big as like a mentor, think about all of the things that you're going to learn from this person. And if you're feeling stretched, turn that into excitement. You know, if we're feeling scared, we can feel excited. So turn that into excitement and take the leap and just see what happens. You know, if you're feeling called to something, whether that's traveling or hiring someone or moving jobs or whatever, there's a reason in that. So I encourage you to do that. And stop saying no to yourself. Let yourself have fun. Whenever we say no, we're saying no to our inner child. So I encourage you to say yes to your inner child more and more and more. And I will see you guys in the next workshop or the next course or the next masterclass, or just on Instagram at Michaela Renee with 3 E's. So it's MichaelaRenaee. So I will see you there. I hope to hear messages from you with results, with your stories, and I will see you later. With much love, I love you. Goodbye.